I'm not using Dragon Quest music. It kind of drives me insane. All right, everyone. So here we are. We are here, not there, for another video talking about the JP side and the more recent update. And specifically, part of the update that I'm going to be covering in this video is honestly the Dragon Quest event. The Dragon Quest event is pretty much in its twilight hours. I mean, it's in the middle of going essentially, but basically we've gotten essentially everything that we were going to get: the vision cards, the characters, the upgrades, except for Slime, who Slime should be getting a upgrade the following week, and that should be its last one, getting it up to level 120. Really, Dragon Quest is pretty much over. And there are some good things I want to talk about, there are some bad things, and then there's the raid. So if you're a fan of spaghetti westerns, it should tell you what I'm going to talk about. So first of all, I do want to talk about the good things. I think that Slime has been a really, really fun character, and way more fun than usual. Like, normally it's just, here's Hope, like a Hope, free character. You get the first copy and then you're responsible for everything else. And it works out to be, okay, I guess. Not incredible, but I don't hate it per se, that method. However, Slime has been really fun. I mean, he is essentially a really, really low-cost character. He is quirky and honestly quite lovable. But really, Slime has just been pretty fun for heavy missions and kind of building him in that way. And he feels almost kind of like a blue mage in sort of how his quests, blue mages, were kind of implemented in Brave Exvius. And that, you gotta take him through missions. And what's also fun is the fact that a lot of the missions, or all of his missions, are just using Slime. So I think it's fairly accessible for most people. Some of the challenges, however, have been a little bit more on the questionable side. Particularly the deal 4,000 damage one is kind of a little bit difficult, probably for newer players who don't necessarily have all the best equipment. I'll give you a hint right now for this one. The big secret to doing this is this sword in its +6 version really does get you all the way there. And after that, for Battle 11, the one thing I want to talk about there is this one. The Elemental Chain mission kind of effectively needs you to have something to get there. And there are like vision cards with multi-hit style attacks. Those attacks can definitely be used to help get through this kind of challenge quest. The thing that I have found is speed boosting your ice allies and having a ice-based summon. It did take a good number of attempts to get there, but you can get there. The Elemental Chain mission is, for most people, I think, will just be have a ice-based summon like the Ice Bird, boost your allies' speed so they can get multiple attacks before Golem attacks, and then hit him with an ice summon. But honestly, Slime is overall a positive thing. I like overall the Slime missions and building Slime. It's been pretty fun. Next thing that I kind of want to talk about is just the metal slimes. The metal slimes is a massive job point boost. You cannot actually increase it any further with ovals or anything like that. But doing this every day is effectively like 5,000 job points and a massive amount of experience. For new players, I just want to see this more often. I want to see things like this that are giving a lot of job points and extra things so that people can get into the game and the game is more accessible. Stop making the game inaccessible. It also makes it incredibly unfun for people. So yeah, this is a great thing. And the whole community challenge of just killing a massive number of metal slimes is a fun little group thing that I also like. As for the overall story, I want to say that this was one of the things that I've been complaining about, whining, whinging, or criticizing the game, depending on your viewpoint of me. For the longest time, I've been really annoyed with the fact that we don't get collaboration stories. They're not that difficult, they don't require that much extra work, and it just shows that this is not just a, you know, like, just give us the money, man. Here's banners with the characters on it. No, it's actually a really important thing, I think, to have this kind of collaboration story. And the collaboration story is just cute. It's nothing overly complex or anything like that. It's pretty fun to see all the characters just get some interaction. Liart being one of the main characters, it's great. I actually do really like it. Now, talking about the bad things, especially in some cases, might be more nitpicks for people. For me, they are a little bit lesser. First of all, there's no Dragon Quest music, which is kind of odd. Square Enix holds the right to the music, so I'm curious as to why they didn't do the music. I get that a lot of people, maybe they're getting the message that some people are playing the game with the audio off constantly, so why bother? But music feels like a strange one. It's not necessarily an extra cost to put it in the game, as far as I'm aware. So just not having Dragon Quest music was a strange omission. As for the characters didn't get voices, and I'm not overly familiar with Dragon Quest, so I'm not super familiar if the characters even have voices, or like Zoma, for example, or Pizarro has some kind of voice work. Overall, if it kept the cost of the collaboration down, sure, fine. Next up, this is a minor gripe, but the Pizarro vision card wasn't announced and is one of the very few collaboration vision cards that has never been announced in the live stream. It was effectively like announcing the event. So this was a little bit of a surprise. I mean, we knew we were getting a Fire Vision card, but it was annoying on a couple of fronts. First of all, you know, the Vision card not being announced right away was a little bit difficult for people to get up, like maybe predict, per se, myself included. But the other thing is just that I was really hoping that we could get away from a Fire Limited Vision card. We did not, but yeah. I'm just going to say one of the things in the middle of this video, one of the things that has kept me on the more positive front about this collaboration is the fact that despite that there's a mass number of banners, obviously I have been incredibly lucky this time, and like getting Zoma on step 3 here, and the other day scoring the Pizarro card on step 1 is like I mean, it feels pretty good, and it definitely goes a long way into making me cheery Umber Rays and not grumpy Umber Rays, and there's been plenty of times of that. Where is the vision card? I actually would love to prove that I do have it. So yeah, luck be damned, that's pretty good. Now I'm going to be talking about something to do. Specifically, we're going to be getting into the raid, and the raid, I told you, was not the bad part, or it was the other part. Overall, the shops and everything are mostly standardized. There's a mass number of banners, but I think that's okay if people are fine with spending anyway. The thing that I really don't like this time around is the raid, but specifically just getting into what I don't like is this piece of equipment here. The ribbon ended up being kind of crappier than I thought it was going to be. Mainly because it's effectively only a Pizarro equipment. You can equip it to all of the characters, and much like the other pieces of equipment, this has really just a bunch of condition. Like the conditions is just like Final Fantasy 13. It gives bonuses for those characters. It gives human resistance and evasion, and on 2 out of 3 of those characters, that's pretty worthless. And honestly, I mean, like, it effectively just gives those 2 boosts. The human resistance is kind of interesting because it points to Wotv going down a very, very specific road from now on with characters and what they are good at, will make a lot more specialists, but will require maybe people to get more characters, which, other than that, pierce resistance and strike resistance, but overall, I find that this weapon, or this piece of equipment, is a little too heavily geared towards Pizarro. True that Fire does need more help than other elements, but I don't know. Overall, I'm just not overly impressed with this raid or its piece of equipment. I was kind of hoping for a little bit better. Is there a defense or spirit version, or just like the evade version? It feels like the one that they gave the most care to. And again, this is fine for evasion-based people, but for me, I just feel really disappointed. And I think anyone who doesn't get Pizarro will find this pretty disappointing. So yeah, let's talk about the raid. The raid is a /fire weak raid, and for people that, I mean, people out there will probably just use a dark elemental characters or light / elemental characters. I mean, slash overall is totally fine. I think that the thing that again is annoying here is just that this is another kind of status effect raid. This is the team I've been running, and the really just hit a brick wall kind of at around level 80 for trying to get this raid overall. Like the last few raids that I've done, I've been able to clear very easily with a limited number of characters, and even over level 100, getting a good amount of stuff done. And here, it's just not that. The damage feels incredibly weak. I mean, fire is an element. Even with the new vision card, it feels pretty not there. But this is another thing that I just do not like, which is a status effect raid, which does provide a high amount of variability into your kind of mileage. And here, the big status effect is sleep. He can also do frostbite, he can do healing, but it's really not enough healing to ever be particularly problematic. As you can see, it's just a minor amount. Honestly, it's a raid that you'll either kind of sometimes high roll on or low roll, I guess, because he can sleep multiple of your characters, and if he does, you're not probably finishing the raid. So yeah, this is another one that I've just found more frustrating, because again, it's effectively a farming event, and the status effects are more annoying than they are clever or interesting here. It's just I don't generally like this kind of thing, and I wish it would go away, but it is what it is. So, I mean, you might want to prepare like sleep resistant equipment for globalers in the future. Frostbite potentially, as well, as that can also shut down stuff, and he is quite fairly competent at landing it. So yeah. Now, overall, I guess I will just close out this video with talking about each of the things that have come out on banners and my overall yay, nay, pass, gas kind of thing. So first of all, this vision card. The Machine Killer vision card doesn't come with an Esper, doesn't come with that, and it's based on job related stuff, and honestly, it's a total skip. I've talked with other people about it, and it just feels like a total skip. Even being with the characters that I have, with the potential combinations I could make with this vision card, I just couldn't validate it enough. Into the future, it might be validated, but that's not a reason to get it and max it on GE especially. So yep, this is a 100 definitive pass from me. Next up is Zoma. And honestly, my Zoma is up to level 115 right now. He's been using him in Arena a lot for the last little bit. He is quite the funny little derpy, massive character. He's a little derpy, and he is a massive character is what I mean. And in all honesty, this character is really great. Definitely become one of my favorites, and a interesting potential fix to the fact that a lot of people are teching against ranged ice. But even so, his bravery down effect has been really cool to use and has been impactful in like getting rid of certain amount of damage. How his AI behaves sometimes can be a little bit questionable, because sometimes he'll choose certain status effects and whatnot. But he does have healing capabilities. He does have a lot of buff capabilities, and his damage is really good. His survivability is really good. He has been a great addition to my team, and I fully recommend him for ice people. As for mages, I think he's kind of interesting for mages because he does effectively make mage teams more survivable by removing bravery. And you can put this effect on massive AoEs or just long range attacks. It's great. I really do think this character is fantastic. I still think his TMR is utter garbaggio, but the character is good, so it doesn't really matter. Next up is Pizarro. We're skipping Slime because Slime is amazing, and I don't think we need to really utter that any more than we already have. Just be in the presence of Slime. As for Pizarro, my impression of Pizarro has gotten better over the last little bit because there are so many ice teams and he does have good matchups into there, and fire could be getting another really big boost in the future. Plus he has a decent amount of evasion support. This character, I think, for people who are looking for a fire character, could actually get there. I'm not going to say that I think that fire evasion is good enough, because I don't think it's good enough. I still think there's evasion as a whole, especially from where it is on the JP side, is just not there. There are too many 100% hit attacks, too many accuracy boosting items, especially with, what was it recently? The Alexandrite ring, who went to 6-star. And that is a incredibly accurate item. So I don't think fire evasion is really all that recommendable. Even though I have used this character in PvP and PvE times, and there he can definitely get evasion, provided that it's probably not tower, because tower units are really overtuned. So yeah, I will say that I think I recommend this overall for people, or for fire enthusiasts. Yeah, go for it, kind of thing. But I think you're really looking more towards DPS in a lot of different modes, and I think his evasion will still probably fall short of the mark, but the raid equipment will definitely be a 100% need for you to get into the future. But other than that, do I really recommend him for most other people? Not with the amount of units that are coming out that are really great. I mean, yeah, 13 tactics, so many great 100 cost characters, and the Warrior of the Crystals in the future. I think for most people this will be a skip, but for fire users, you'll be quite happy with it. And last but not least is this card. This vision card feels like a mandatory get for anyone who ever has intention of using the fire element again. This card is essential towards the fire element, not because of the evasion or the luck or the defense penetration, just because it's a 15% agility card. And this card will not show up too many times. It will show up whenever we get a Dragon Quest, which is totally possible into the future. But I think that we're really looking here at a vision card that is just, if you have intentions of using the fire element, even if you just kind of passively like the fire element, this is a tough one to pass up. Speed cards always are, and this is a speed card with a fair amount of bonuses, a good amount of stats. I mean, Valentine Eldyra is potentially the non-limited version for some people on Global who will be looking to use this vision card. But even if, I think that it has just, even if it just has good properties for fire elemental teams into the future, and if Reagan's a fire elemental character, you're going to be really glad that you invested in the vision card. So there's my overall view and kind of talk about the raid, just looking at this event. Obviously, into the future, I need to do a Final Fantasy 13 and Tactics overall thing, especially updated with how things currently are. But yeah, there it is. So hopefully you found this video helpful and interesting. And if not, I'll try better in the next. See ya.